We got a new baby. Hi. You want to introduce yourself? Do you want to introduce yourself? He is a little boy. As you can see, he's full of energy. He's now approximately 6-ish weeks old. We've had him for about a week. Hi. He's being a terror in here. Sabbath's in here. Sabby. Sabbath. Red. Sushi's hiding right now. She's mad at the dogs, so she didn't want to come in. But here is Sabbath. So as you can see, we still have Sabbath. We still have Jack, and we still have both of the dogs. But we've had him for about a week now. As I said, so kind of the story. His name is Nebula, by the way. Nebula Skiba. So we have Piggy the Pen Barker, Sushi Roll Hoppus, Didgeridoo Rainer, Sabbath DeLong, and then Nebula Skiba. Those that know what that theme is. Yeah. He's kind of a funny little guy. Yes, before everybody starts in, he's too young to be away from his mom. We know that. We've known that since the moment that he came into our lives. Ow. But, can I help you? You're just trying to be a terror. Yeah, we know that. But, so the story behind Nebula is at 11:30 p.m. a week ago, I get a phone call from my husband saying, you want a kitten? Which is not something I typically hear from my husband, because I will find pictures of kittens or send him something like somebody local's giving away kittens, and the answer is always no. So when I get a phone call from him saying, you want a kitten? I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, hang on. So then he hits the FaceTime button, and it's his coworker sitting there with this in his lap. And he goes, we think it's a boy. We're not fully sure, but it looks like Jack in the back. So those that don't know, we do have another cat. He's 17 years old. He's grumpy. He hates everyone, including himself. So he's like, he looks like Jack in the back, not like Sushi and Sabbath. And I'm like, okay, what's the catch? And he goes, we found him. And I go, what do you mean you found him? You found him at work? And he said, no. He was found on the side of the road all by himself on a busy road at a busy intersection. He was almost hit by a car. The coworker that was with my husband jumped out, had to chase him, and then they brought him back to work. And of the people that were there, 2 of them that were willing to take cats, one currently has 8 indoor cats, and he said about 10 outdoor cats. So he's like, if I have to take him, I will, but preferably not to. The other coworker didn't say how many cats he had, but the consensus was we had less cats than the other coworkers that had cats, so therefore we needed to up our amount of cats. So my husband quickly ran him home at midnight. He was in horrible condition. He was covered in fleas, so instantly Sabbath, be nice. I instantly did the Dawn bath. For those that don't know, Dawn dish soap, just the blue type, like the one that you see with the ducks on it, original blue, kills fleas. So we have a bunch of that on stock. That's because that's kind of soap we use. But I went and grabbed it quickly, and you put a ring around their neck so it stops any fleas from going from their body to their face. if there's fleas on their head and their face, then you're going to have to address that. But that's with a flea comb, which we already have too. So I put him in the bath. He's not happy obviously, but he's very lethargic. So we put him in the bath. He soaks. You're supposed to let them soak in the water for about 5 minutes as well. And I mean, fleas were just climbing out everywhere from him. Come here, Nebula. You wanted her, and now you don't want her. He's over there fighting with Sabbath, and he's trying to lay down next to her, and she's like, no, you're not doing this. But I gave him a bath quickly, and he wasn't too thrilled with that, and I had nothing. We don't have kitten food on stock. We don't have we have wet food. We had wet food that was cat food, not kitten food. We do not have wet kitten food. We did not have kitten dry food. We did not have kitten formula, nothing on hand. Except for a kitten bottle, which was from when we got sushi. So I took some of the wet food that we had to see if he would eat it, because I knew we needed to get something into him. And he was trying to lick water, but he wasn't quite sure of it. So I did get him the one cat food that we had, the wet one, was the chunks in gravy. So he did lick the gravy. So I did get at least something in him to kind of keep his blood sugar up so that he didn't crash. So that was around midnight. I did not sleep well that night. Actually, what I did is, like I said, I did the flea bath with him. I combed him out and used a tweezer, and we picked fleas out for quite a while. Then I took him and wrapped him up tight in a baby towel that was actually white, which actually worked out because when fleas would crawl out, you could see them on it. So we got as many fleas off if we could. Like I said, I didn't sleep well that night. I basically took him, wrapped him up in this blanket, and him and I slept on the chair, and he did not move all night. Like I said, he was really weak. He was really lethargic. The poor thing was shaking, not just because I'd given him a bath, but he was shaking before I even got him near the water. He was scared. So the next morning, I get my kids on the bus like normal, and we headed straight over to the vet because our vet opens at 8. And we get into the vet. The vet tells us that she estimated him between 4 to 6 weeks. She was looking more approximately the 5 weeks, but wasn't 100% sure, just going by his teeth. His ears were open, so she knew he wasn't younger than 4 weeks. And he didn't have he still doesn't have his 8-week teeth yet. So we knew he was closer to the 4 weeks just by his size and some other things he was displaying, is what she said. They looked at him. They did not find any more fleas on him, although even though he's very tiny, they did give us a dosage of flea meds for his size. He weighed a whole pound at the visit, and he was too small for any shots. So we have to go back later to start his shots. And then we did get flea meds for all the other animals in the house. The dogs, theirs were due, but Sushi and Sabbath, things like this, we will give them flea meds even though they're indoor only cats, just as a preventative. Jack cannot have flea meds because he's had a reaction to them before. So we're not supposed to give him any, and it's kind of one of those, we take care of the problem on everybody else, and he shouldn't have a problem with it. But, so they said because he's so small, they're like, do you have kitten food for him? And I'm like, not yet. That was on my list of things to do after. They did recommend picking up kitten formula for him. They said I don't need to probably bottle feed him per se, but just like the extra calories, like mix it with his wet food, or just let him have it on his own, like water. because while he will drink water, he doesn't drink a whole lot of water. And they said he'll eventually transition, but, just give him a little bit of the formula every day. So that's what we've been doing. And so I brought him home, kind of got him set up, as well as he hadn't gone to the bathroom yet. And they said he was severely dehydrated, and to them it looked like he hadn't eaten or drank anything in a few days because he was lethargic when he was at the vet as well. So they're like, it might be touch and go a little bit with him, but as long as you can get him to eat and drink, this was on last Friday by the time it happened at 11:30 Thursday night, and I had him at the vet on Friday. They said he should go to the bathroom by Saturday or Sunday, if not bring him back Monday. So I brought him back home, got him kind of set up in a little area, and quickly ran some errands. That errands included, I went to Target to get the dry food. For our cat, like our big cats, we use the Costco Kirkland brand food for them. That's just what works for them, but Kirkland does not have kitten food. So we decided to try the Mindful kitten food from Target, which I've heard good things about. So for a dry kitten kibble, it had a pretty good rating. It also had a really good rating for like value. I know like with Sushi and Sabbath, we had a more expensive brand cat food, but at the same time, when Sushi and Sabbath were kittens, we could get a pretty big bag for what I paid for a small bag of his. Since inflation has increased everything, even like the cat food, the reason why we switched over to the Kirkland one, the cat food that we were feeding the cats, I was getting from Chewy, and when we first started buying it, it was like $20 a bag. Now I am paying $80 a bag for 2 bags every few months. So that's double in price, and the bags actually got smaller. So we got shrinkflation and inflation with that one. So we ended up switching to Kirkland, which honestly the cats actually eat better. And they're going to the bathroom not as often, should I say? Well, that sounds bad. When you have a higher quality cat food, their BMs don't smell as bad, and they haven't smelled bad. And while they don't go as much because it's a higher quality, therefore their body's absorbing more of it. So anyways, the Kirkland brand, they've all been doing fine with. Back to Nebula, so I went there. Then I went to PetSmart, because once again, after talking to a few people that actually do kitten rescue, a lot of them recommended Fancy Feast kitten wet food. They said that is probably going to be your best budget. Hey, don't chew on that. Nebby. Okay, you can chew on that. You can bug Sabbath too. Was going to be the best one to get him for a budget-friendly one, which, once again, now we have a zoo of animals at our house. Because not only do we have now the 4 cats, 2 dogs, we have 2 guinea pigs, and then my kids' rabbits. So we have a zoo. And back when we had just Sushi, it was just Sushi, Jack, and Piggy. And then even Sabbath, it was Sushi, Jack, Piggy, Sabbath. Well, Sabbath and Sushi were both eating the kitten food at the same time. So anyways, I got some Fancy Feast because it was actually on sale at PetSmart, as well as I needed to get the kitten formula there. Well, I was talking to the lady at PetSmart and I needed to get him a collar, because the only kitten collar we have that would have fit him was Sushi's old kitten collar, and I cannot find it for the life of me. And I couldn't find it I couldn't even find it before we moved. I do not remember where I put that collar. And I knew PetSmart sells kitten-size collars. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of watching him, too. He's getting into trouble over there. So I needed to get him a kitten collar, as well as I knew the Fancy Feast was on sale there, plus I needed to get him kitten formula. Got the Fancy Feast, found a collar for him, then went over to the formula, and I was standing there trying to decide, did I need the can, the pre-made can, or do I need the powder formula? So I'm looking at them, and the powder formula was like $22, and the can was $11, but once you open the can, it's only good for 72 hours, and I didn't think I'd go through a whole can in 72 hours, as well as, since we're just supplementing to get him extra calories since he was so lethargic and he had gone without, and he was small for his approximate age. I was kind of standing there trying to decide between the two, and one of the employees actually came over and she asked if she could help me, and I was kind of explaining the situation, and she's like, if it's just a supplement to him, go to Walmart. She goes, Walmart, you can get that can of powdered formula, which is going to last you longer because you can have that open for, I think it's up to 2 weeks. She goes, you might not use the whole thing, but she goes, you can get a whole can of it from Walmart for, I think it was like $13 or $14. So it was $10 cheaper than their can of the powder, and it was just a few dollars more expensive than the can of pre-made. And the difference is the one that PetSmart sells is got like a higher protein content, and she goes, if you're already feeding the kitten wet food and you've got kibble for it, you don't need to concentrate so much on is the protein content in it, because the kitten will be getting that from other sources. It's just you're supplementing the extra calories. And she goes, so the Walmart one will be just fine for this situation. She goes, now if you had a newborn kitten through a 4-week kitten that just was solely relying on the formula, then I would go with the higher protein. She goes, but if this one's going to be eating wet food and then has kibble available and then this, you'll be fine with that. So got the stuff I needed at PetSmart, drove over to Walmart. I also at PetSmart, they had some Wednesday toys on sale, and he's supposed to be my daughter's kitten, and she plays cello. So they had a little Wednesday kitten toy that was in the shape of a cello. So I got that for him because I knew she'd like that. So then went to Walmart, got him his formula at Walmart, and came home and gave him some of the kitten food, and he gobbled that down. I only gave him a little bit to start out because I didn't want to push it too hard, that and wastefulness. So he is set up in my closet, which is a walk-in closet. I have a litter box in there for him. I have a little spot for his food. He's laying down with Sabbath right now. So he has his kitten food in there. He's got water in there. He's got a little spot to sleep in there, and then he's got toys, and then there is a cat scratcher in there that's been in there since we moved here. But we had started out with pine pellets for him, and he would not use them. So he's still on Friday. So that was Friday. I'm still by Friday night. Friday night, my son was holding him and let him walk around on the table downstairs, the kitchen table, and we noticed a big puddle. So he ended up going pee on the kitchen table. So I'm like, okay, well, that's a good sign. He went potty. Let me grab him and start to fall asleep. Maybe he'll calm down. Come here. You're covered in cobwebs. What were you doing? Is there cobwebs in the window? So he, really, sir? Okay. You may be a baby? Okay. And this is how he is. Yes, he's a tuxedo, if you can't tell. He's got white down under his collar into his chest. But he peed on the table. So I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. That means we've got kidneys working. That means he's gotten at least enough liquid in him to be able to start doing that. Saturday morning, we woke up and he took a big spooky dookie on the floor next to the litter box. So we discovered he did not like the pine pellets. So all of Saturday, every couple hours, we would run him to the big litter box for the cats, because it's the litter box that we have. One of them is just Jack's only, and it just ended up being Jack's only. Jack is the only cat that uses it, so I wasn't about to interrupt that because Jack can be temperamental, stuff like that. We have now we have 4. We have 3 litter boxes, and the other 2 litter boxes that Sushi and Sabbath like are almost like a tote, but it's got a lid on it and it's got a circle. And so they jump on top of it and then they go into the hole, do their business, and come out. Both of them love these litter boxes. Well, clearly this little guy cannot jump that high, so he needed assistance in it. So all Saturday we would be running him to the bathroom every few hours. He would do his business as soon as we put him in there. He'd either go 1 or 2. And then on Sunday, I ended up going and getting him non-scoopable cat litter as well, because for kittens who like to eat stuff and they get stuff in their paws and then they try to eat it, eating that scoopable cat litter, it turns to like clay, is not good for them because it can get stuck in their bellies and get caked in their bellies and cause issues in their bellies. Yeah, they can do that if you eat it. So we went and got some non-scoopable litter for his litter box, and he's been using his litter box since. Are you gonna purr, or are you just gonna be a pain? Hi. See, just his face says he's trouble, doesn't it? He sees Sabbath and he's trying to get to her. She's cleaning herself. You don't need to go attack. So like I said, we've had him about a week. Jack, for the most part, surprisingly, Jack has always hated male cats. Any other time we brought another male cat in, Jack will flip out. In fact, when we moved from Fargo to Minot, we had to stay at my parents' house we had to have the cats at my parents' house for one night. While we got the moving truck ready. While we got the moving truck ready, so we took the cats over to my parents' house, and then we actually slept at my parents' house because we got the moving truck all loaded up, ready to go, and then we moved the next day. So we ended up staying at my parents' house as well. My parents have 2 male cats, and Jack, even though Jack and Teffy were together in the bathroom away from my parents' cats, Jack was just freaking out, not because of stress, because he wanted to get to those cats and attack them. So he's always had issues with male cats. He's not been, basically like Sushi and Sabbath, it's one of these things, I have to deal with you because you're here. And Teffy was older than him, so she obviously was here before him. So he was always around Teffy, so it wasn't a choice with her. But with Sabbath and Sushi, he just kind of put up with them and dealt with them. Over the years, he's gotten better, especially with Sushi. Sushi sometimes grooms him. But Nebula, he's not had a problem with. Occasionally, he'll kind of growl at him, hiss, and smack him in the head. But for the most part, Nebula goes up and rubs on him, and he'll kind of rub on him, and he'll groom him. In fact, he was the first cat that tried to take Nebula. I was holding Nebula, and he came over, and he tried to grab him from me. So he's actually kind of taken to Nebula. Sushi, still not sure. She'll play with him. Yesterday, him and her played chase. They would chase each other. He would chase her. She would chase him. He was chasing her, and she kind of got a little too fast for him. She'd stop and put herself where he could find her. And then turn around, and she'd chase him, and They were having fun yesterday for quite a bit of time. Sabbath is taking a little bit longer to come around to him, but Sabbath is a young female. Oh, Sushi's not too old. Sushi's 2 and Sabbath is 1. So all the cats, honestly, Lennon has asked if we put his birthday as Teffy's birthday, which would put him right around the time that they think he was born for his age. But that would mean his birthday that we're putting it as is August 28th. Sabbath's birthday is in July. I think it's July 10th. And Sushi's is September 12th. So basically all the cats are within a 2-year time period. Be nice, Sabbath. So Sabbath is a younger female. She would potentially be of age to have kittens, but clearly all our cats are fixed, except for him. Our vet doesn't neuter until 6 months old. They believe in animals getting their hormones at least till 6 months of age. If you can wait a little bit longer, the better, but they prefer 6 months at the youngest, which research is now showing that is the best for the animals for longevity, getting those hormones for their bones. Sir, do not climb the blinds. Thank you. Nebby. No, sir. He's trying to climb the blind over there. And Sabbath is just sitting there watching him. Like, huh. I'll let you get in trouble. I'm just going to lay here. But, so he has been a little menace since. He loves people. He's well socialized. So that's what we find kind of weird. So we think when my husband and his coworker found him, they looked for Mama. They looked for other kittens too. Like if there was other kittens, they were going to put him with the other kittens, but it was just him by himself. So the only thing that we or the vet can think of is that because he's so well socialized as a kitten, that he was at a place where he was either an outdoor cat that the family would go outside and play with the kittens, and Mama moved the kittens and lost him, that he was in a home and somehow got out, and he made his way to the street because there were businesses around. He was found around one of the local libraries and some fast food places, but there are houses kind of in that area. Or the other option is he may have been an outdoor cat and somehow got into like the bumper or something of a car and fell out while the car was driving. But he was by himself. They called for Mama. They could not see Mama anywhere. They did not hear any other kittens. They could not see any other kittens. I mean, granted, this was at 11:30 at night, and he was by himself, and he's a black cat, so. But the reason why they saw him was because he almost got hit by another car. So, we do have a new baby. I know this is kind of a long video with his story. He's fitting in for the most part. He's not sure of the dogs. Piggy thinks he's her baby, and Digger is just, oh, what are you? I need to investigate you. I need to sniff you as much as I can. But he does that to all the other cats too. Sushi and Sabbath just do a fuck around and find out with him. He gets a little too personal with them, and the claws come out to his face. And he backs off instantly. They don't hurt him. It's just, we're telling you to back off, and he does. He hasn't quite reached that yet with Nebby. But Nebby is full of energy now that we're getting food in him. He eats half a can of wet kitten food a day. He gets, I think it's 2 ounces of formula a day. He has his kitten kibble that he does eat, but he does prefer to eat the actual cat's food, so we don't stop him when he does. If we have to leave the closet door closed when he's not in there, because Jack will try to go in and use his litter box and eat all his food. So we keep them separated for that reasoning, and just to keep the other cats out of his stuff. But when we notice him going in and eating the cat food, we'll put him in his room to eat, because that tells us he's hungry. But since he's gotten food in him, he definitely acts like a kitten. He's no longer lethargic. In fact, the only time we can get him to sleep is when we put him night-night in his room, and sometimes after a little bit, if he can hear us, he's up. He thinks that we're up, so that means he needs to be up and he needs to be out. So he's fitting in. Him and Sabbath are now, I don't know if Sabbath's trying to hurt him or play with him or teach him. Could be another thing. So I hope everyone has a good day. I will see you all later. Bye.